All right, welcome to Thursday, the last public broadcast day of the week. So savor it. Drink it in. Drink in all that is Student of the Gun Radio. You know you want to. And if you don't want to, I don't even know what to say to you.
It's the last day of the week.
Last day of the week for the public broadcast for all of you who are not grad program members. But for the grad program members, they fear not, because they know we'll be back tomorrow with the big boy, big girl program. Yeah. And you could be one too, but you don't have to be. This is America, or this is wherever you live. We know that we have people that are living in Australia. G'day, mate. What's going on down under there? And we know we have some really super frightened tax slaves living in England that listen to us. You know what I imagine, Jared? I imagine that to listen to us in Great Britain, that it's kind of like being in the former East Germany or behind the Iron Curtain, that they actually like hide in the basement. They draw the curtains, and they go to the basement. They go to the cellar, and they put it up to their ears, and they listen very, very intently, because they don't want the fairness police. They don't want them to find out what they're doing. You having a hard time over there? Yeah. Having technical difficulties?
Yeah, I was just trying to fix the
mic. You need to get someone with a big hammer to come in there and fix that?
Yeah, science.
Yeah, science.
I need some science over
here. Get a big science. So wherever you happen to be on planet Earth, welcome back to Student of the Gun Radio. I'm your host, Professor Paul Markle, and we are in the Glass Case of Emotion Studios. And yes, I did relinquish the chair yesterday. I got up out of the chair and I let little Alex sit in the chair and talk to you hippies about essential oils and other, hippie type stuff. And apparently some of you listened.
Seems like a lot of people liked it.
I was going to say, apparently somebody listened. Every once in a while I have to give up the chair. I gave the chair up to your mom there for a little bit.
It's only to women, though. Did you guys notice that? He doesn't get up for anybody else.
Duh.
He gets up out of his chair for ladies.
As I'm a man, I'm not a metrosexual. I don't have a gender identity crisis. All right. Well, welcome to the show. Welcome to today, and that is Jared over there. In case you didn't know, if this is new to you, it's okay. It'll be all right. We promise. You just need to sit down, take some deep breaths. There you go. Take some deep breaths. And relax. Relax. Close your mouth, open your ears, and listen louder. All right, thank you very much to our friends at Brownells at brownells.com, Duracoat at duracoat.com, or lauerweaponry.com. Or you can buy Duracoat at Brownells. How crazy is that? What? I can do that? Yes, we will allow you to go to duracoat.com, or to brownells.com and buy Duracoat products. And if you're not following us on social media, that's cool too, but you really should be, because when we do our fancy Duracoat finishes and we have our new products and what have you, generally the first thing we do is take pictures of them and we put them up on the line, because we know how some of you guys like to go on the line and look at pictures. I know that Vince Vaughn likes to go on the line go out on the line and look at the pictures. Crossbreed holsters. You need to carry a gun. You should be carrying a gun. Not everyone should be carrying a gun. I'll go ahead and take that back. Liberals and hippies and government employees should not. Hey, I'm a government employee. Oh, you are? Congratulations. All right, but Crossbreed holsters at crossbreedholsters.com. I have not followed up on the Frog Loop gun thing yet. But, check this out. I'm going to go ahead and do this live. Lauer Weaponry, lauerweaponry.com. They actually, I think if you type in the word Duracoat, it just redirects you to lauerweaponry.com. Duracoat colors. Jared, you ever gone to, you guys, every one of you has gone at some point in your life, unless you're a child, you've gone to a paint store, or you went into the Lowe's or the hardware store, or whatever, with your significant other to choose paints. And you're like, well, we're going to paint the room tan. And you're like, no, there's not just a tan. There's like 18 different shades of tan. We're going to paint the room pink. No, you can't just paint your daughter's bedroom pink, because there are 13 different shades of pink. There's things like watermelon and ballerina slipper and so forth. So I went to the Duracoat color selector, Jared, to look for green paint. And it looks to me like in the green selection, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 different shades of green that you can choose
60
from.
Shades of Green is going to be a new movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's one here that I'm looking at that I think would be the perfect Frog Lube gun color, and it's called, get this, it's called Electric Everglades.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a toss-up between Electric Everglades and Fluorescent Vivid Green.
I like the Electric Everglades.
I think the Electric Everglades. So when you're talking about Frog Lube, that may be the one we go with. I just thought that was kind of fun. We talk about that right now. Oh, let me see. Where are we at? Man, we've got all this stuff in here. We've got all these show notes. Whew. Some stuff that's just going to blow your minds, ladies and gentlemen. Your minds will be blown. And that's what we're here for, is it not, Jared?
To blow minds?
To blow your minds, yeah.
Yep.
Well, you know, the Frog Lube deal, if you missed yesterday's show, you need to catch up. But Jared talked about some of the projects that our fellow students of the gun are doing with their Duracoat can. They're refinishing guns and posting pictures. And there was a really cool one called Ron Burgundy that one of our fans had put up on the line. So we were spitballing about doing a Frog Lube gun. You're like, well, how can I find Frog Lube? Well, you can go to brownells.com and buy it. Or you can go to froglube.com and you can order it there. Just buy it wherever you feel like it. I don't care. You're an American. You want to talk about some slave state news? Dude, should we do the slave state news first, or should we do the Go Team first?
Let's end on a good note. How about
you
that?
want to end on the Go Team? Well, we got the social bullies thing there, too. You want to flip the show notes around so we can end on a good note?
I don't know. It's your show.
It is my show.
Tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
You know what? I want to start out positive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the Go Team moment up to the front. Which just screws you up because you're going to pull up the Go Team theme. But
I'm good. I got it right here.
You're good? All right. Well, hit it, hippie.
That's why I say amen, I shine.
All right, this story comes to us from Breitbart.com, and via Lauren, who's one of our grad program members, because I was in the grad program, the Student of the Gun grad program private group or members group or whatever on Facebook, and she shared this story with us, and I was like, what is going on here? So, all right, the title is One Dead, Two Flee After Man Pulls Gun and Shoots to Protect His Date. What? A firearm was used in self-defense? That never happens, according to Shannon and Nanny Bloomberg and all the sandwich makers. But, according to AWR Hawkins of Breitbart.com, Dateline, Las Vegas, Nevada. On August 5th, a man and a woman were getting out of their car in an apartment complex in Las Vegas when three black males came up. One who allegedly had a gun and demanded the woman hand over her purse. The man, this is the good guy, the man then pulled his own gun and shot the alleged armed robber, causing the other two to flee, which is generally what happens when you shoot vermin. You shoot one of the vermin and the other vermin scurry. You guys ever been hunting? You're like, yeah, I've been hunting. You ever been hog hunting? There's a real big one, and they come out, but there's a whole bunch of other ones around, and you whack the big one, and all the other ones go, and they scurry away. That's kind of like bad guys, generally. Not always, but most often. The incident took place around 9:30 or 9:25 p.m. near Spencer and East Tropicana. I actually know where that is. According to 3 News, witnesses at the apartment complex confirmed what the couple told police, and a weapon believed to be belonging to the suspect was recovered from the scene. Metro Police summed up the incident by saying 3 men approached a couple in their car. One of them was armed with a gun. He tried to take the woman's purse. The man pulled a gun and shot the suspect. The suspect was taken to Sunrise Hospital, where he died. The 2 suspects who fled are believed to be black men in their late teens or early 20s. And apparently they are still at large. You want read the quote from the person who lives in the same complex? Susan Russell lives in the same complex where the incident occurred, and she said the news convinced her to get a gun. She said the news scared her, so she went to the gun store. Okay. Russell said, I'm not against guns, but I'm against criminals using guns for criminal activities. Da-da-da-da! I'm not against guns, but I'm against criminals using them. There you go. Good quote. All right, so take your gun on a date with you. And now here's the big question: they're all jacked up about the whether or not alleged gun or what have you. But I'm going to ask you guys this: you smart students of the gun, you grad program members, you people who are, if you've watched the Armed Living DVD, riddle me this, Batman. Let's say that they couldn't find a gun. So it's you and your significant other person there, and 3 adult males approach you and tell you that they want your valuables. They commit a robbery. Even if you cannot see a gun in one of their hands, or a pipe or a knife or anything, does that or does that not constitute deadly force or justification for deadly force? And you're like, yes, I think so. Brothers and sisters, yes, I think so is not the right answer. The right answer is you need to know 100% for a fact before you whip out that Roscoe whether you're doing right or you're not. Because you can't guess in a life-threatening situation. There's no room for maybe or possibly or I think so. When that time comes, you need to know whether or not your actions are justified. You may have a gun. You may be like Susan Russell, who went to the gun store to buy a gun. Okay, congratulations. Are you with me over there, kid? Because I'm about to say something significant. So she went to the gun store and she bought a gun. Now what does that mean? It means she owns an object. Did she buy the skill for that object in the box? Did she buy the information she needs to justifiably use deadly force in a life or death situation out of that box? I'm going to guess no.
How come firearms are the only thing that people buy and assume they can use without training?
I don't.
People
It's
don't
because
go-
it's ego-driven.
So are cars.
Well,
But people still, if people don't go to a race car track and try to race without getting a professional driver to teach them first.
Well, maybe some of them do. I don't know. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's because guns are ego-driven, and men think that because it's super simple. All men think that the possession of testicles, and this is for you people who have gender identity issues, you can give yourself a pass. But all men think that because they were born with testicles that
I
they're
don't know how many of those we have listening.
they're excellent lovers, they're excellent drivers, and they're excellent shooters. They think that being born with testicles makes them good drivers, good lovers, and good shooters. And I'm not going to address the loving and the driving part, but being born with testicles doesn't make you a de facto good shooter or a competent shooter or anything like that. You need to actually work on it. And if you asked your wife or your significant other, she might tell you that you wanted to work on the other stuff too, but that's not my business. That's your business, and you keep your business with your business. And if you're out on the road, I would also suggest that you get your head out of your phone, out of your rectum, put your hands at 10 and 2, and pay attention to the road. Whew. All right. Now, the reason I brought that up is because earlier this week, was it yesterday or?
Yes.
It was yesterday that I brought up the fact that you're going to be releasing the combo?
No, that was... Yeah, it was yesterday.
I can't remember.
I don't know. It was
I
sometime
can't
this
remember
week.
if it was yesterday or the day before.
I plan to release it to the grad program first on Friday, which is tomorrow.
Okay, so here's the deal, Jared. We had the book DVD combo. Both of them, the physical book and the physical DVD, deal with being an armed citizen, not just buying a gun, not just going to the store and buying one, but okay, I own a gun now. Now what do I do? Because you can't just buy the stuff and expect to know how to use it. And that's why we did what we did. Both the book and the DVD are a result of me answering questions or answering the same questions over and over and over and over again. People are like, well, what if this? Or, well, what if that? Or what if whatever? I've been doing this for going on 3 decades now. I guess if you can say I started my professional career at around 86, 87, so you do the math. But going on 3 decades worth of experience. If you're not signed up for the newsletter, it's super easy, simple. Jared, tell them how they can get the free, cost you nothing Student of the Gun newsletter.
Well, you can do that by going to studentofthegun.com. I actually just made a brand new homepage for studentofthegun.com, and it's got links to the radio, it's got links to where we are on TV, it's got links to all of our social media. It's basically a one-stop shop. You go to studentofthegun.com, and it sends you to, or you can get all the information of where we are. So go there, studentofthegun.com, and it's got the 7 training tips that could save your life is what you get for free when you sign up for the newsletter.
Wow, that is pretty righteous. You're a busy little beaver over there, aren't you?
Yep. I've been working on that for a little while.
Oh. And also, if you want to know about the new book, you're like, I don't know about this new book, this Faith in the Patriot book. What is that all about? I'm curious, or I'm skeptical, or whether you're skeptical or curious, you can go to faithandthepatriot.com, and I'll walk you through it. I'll hold your hand because I like you. And in addition to me telling you, or to us as an audience host relationship, there are people in your life that probably don't listen, and that is wrong, and you should help them fix themselves. But I'm sure that there are people that, whether they're relatives, whether they're coworkers, whether they're acquaintances or friends or what have you. Now, Jared, if someone is listening to us, if someone is a dedicated student of the gun, and they have friends who won't listen, are they really their friends, or are they just acquaintances?
I think they would just be acquaintances.
I think they would just be acquaintances, but I digress. So you're talking to Susie or Jimmy or Johnny or whatever at work or at church or at the ball game or whatever, and they're like, "What's this all about? I don't get it." And you're like, "Tell you what, rather than me try and paraphrase it, go to faithandthepatriot.com, or you go to patriotfireteam.2, and just close your mouth and listen, and that's it. That's all you have to do. Just send them there, or pull out your smartphone, because everyone on planet Earth except Amish, and even some of them do, have either iPhones or smartphones, and type it in and hold it up to their face, and they can look at it and listen to it.
Oh, while we're on the subject, I have a question for you guys. I want to know if the Faith in the Patriot book, we're going to be doing an audio book in the future, and maybe sooner than later, we'll see. But the question for you is it important to you if Dad reads the Faith in the Patriot book, or can we get another voice actor or another voice to read the book for him? So go to the...
You know what you just did?
What?
You just blew about 5%, maybe even 10% of the audience's minds. Because you just said Dad. And they're over there like, why would you want your dad to do it? Why wouldn't you have Paul do it?
Oh, Paul is my dad.
Ah, people are like, what? What happened just now?
I just assume people know
just
that.
What just happened?
Yeah.
No, the funny thing is we've obviously established that, but we have people that tuned in this week or last week.
Oh, people didn't know who Alex was.
Or occasional people.
And Jeremy, I'm going to punch you in your face. All right, go ahead. Finish your sentence.
Don't threaten people on the radio. But yeah, people are like...
Bless his heart.
Well, Jared and I go to events. We go to trade shows. We go to NRA. We go to whatever. And how many people do the brother thing? Like everyone. Well, everybody who doesn't know us.
Yeah. He looks too young to have a son this old, apparently.
Or you look too old to be my son. Oh! Brothers and sisters and Student of the Gun audience members, those of you that are in your late 30s or even pushing early 40s that are having little kids, bless your heart. Bless your heart.
Okay, so
you know why God makes you have kids when you're young?
Because you have energy.
Because that's when you have freaking energy.
Yeah. So let me rephrase the question. Would you like the author of the book, Faith in the Patriot, A Belief Worth Fighting For, to read it? Or would you like, or does it matter to you? Really?
Or does it not matter? There you go.
Does it not matter? Does it matter or does it not? Go to the Student of the Gun Facebook or the Twitter or the Instagram or
We're
the Gun
thinking-
District.
We've got we're in negotiation with Gilbert Gottfried's manager to see if he's interested in reading the book. No, I'm kidding.
I would not be able to listen to that book.
I kid.
I would have to hire a new editor.
All right, you freaks and freakettes, are you ready to go?
Where are we going?
Oh, we got to talk
To
about
Disney
something
World?
that's going to annoy you.
Or Disneyland?
Yeah,
Disneyland?
Disney DIZ. Do you know when that song "Going to Disneyland" that they spelled it DIZ like NEY or something, or DIZNEI?
Like
They
Diz.
had to Diz.
We going to Disney.
Yeah, they had to do that so that those freaking monsters at Disney wouldn't sue them.
Wow.
But we're going to totally digress, and we're going to get back into
Speaking
it.
of
monsters
and stuff.
I like to teach you all the rules. I get to see them set in stone. I like it when you chain me to the bed, but then you see me stay on the shelf.
Thank you. Wow, that was a hard fade, man. Just, pow, it's gone. But that was Puddle of Mud and their song "Control," because that's what slave states are all about. They're all about controlling the lives of the peasants. The peasants cannot be cannot be trusted to control their own lives. So,
I blame that hard fade on Zach because the shipping ogre
yeah, the shipping ogre just walked
He
by
was-
and he's like, was
distracting me with a grip thingy.
wasn't that
He was using-
wasn't it a weight collar?
Yeah, he was using a weight collar as a grip,
a springy weight collar.
springy weight thingy.
Yeah, that. Does it smell like testosterone in here?
I don't know. You're in the case.
This story comes to us from guns.com. And it's a story that's been reprinted many, many times by the time you hear this, but let's go ahead and dive into it. Los Angeles mayor signs confiscatory magazine ban into law.
It's a big word.
Yeah, for those of you that went to public school, confiscatory means confiscate or they will take it from you. Story by Chris Eger, or Eager. I'm not sure how he pronounces his name. It's Eger. It says, in 60 days, there will be no such thing as a legally grandfathered, civilian-owned magazine capable of holding more than 10 rounds in Los Angeles. Mayor Eric Garcetti signed the citywide ordinance Friday prohibiting the ownership of what the state deems large-capacity detachable firearms magazines. Hey, Jared, don't they already have all that, like, other California silliness? The whole you can't have a flash hider and you have to have a bullet button. The whole bullet button thing where you have to use a tool to remove the magazine and all that.
Yep.
You're like, yeah, well, there's all that, and that's really been effective. The controversial measure was introduced by City Councilman Paul Krikorian and passed by the council, passed the council by unanimous vote. Well, they're all communists, so what's the big deal? Krikorian, along with gun control advocates, joined Garcetti at City Hall in gleefully signing this piece of crap. Oh, look at us. We're all smiling. Look how happy we are. Screw the peasants. Yeah. Oh, we're so deceitful. Oh, and the people are so stupid. And, oh, we've got a bunch of victims lined up behind us. Let's get the victims. Let's put ribbons on the victims. Are those gold ribbons or yellow ribbons or amber ribbons or something? I'm sure that's like victims of gun violence. Hey, you got a quote from this knucklehead out there? I'm committed to reducing gun violence in our city. Really? Then why don't you lock up some of the monsters? What? You just can't put people in jail, Paul. That doesn't solve anything. Oh, that's right. This ban is part of a larger effort. It will help keep our streets safe. I'm reaching.
That's the damn it doll.
Keep our streets safer and help prevent the magnitude of mass shootings. We're sending a clear message. We will not wait for Washington to act. We are ready to act now. Screw the Bill of Rights. Screw the Constitution. Screw what you think are your, God-given fundamental rights. Screw you. Here in L.A., we do what we want. The ordinance, blah, 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 bans the possession of any magazine capable of holding more than 10 cartridges inside the city limits. While state lawmakers enacted a similar prohibition in 1999 during the federal assault weapons ban, it allowed continued possession of magazines already in circulation. So what we just did is we took something that was legal yesterday, something that you could lawfully own yesterday, and basically, well, it says within 60 days, but, so tomorrow you will be a felon. Unless what? Oh, ha, ha, ha. Here we go. Peasants and tax slaves living in the People's Republic of California, listen up. People who currently possess such magazines, many for collectible firearms registered decades ago, as long as you register your guns, because that's what it's all about, have a 60-day window to remove them from the city, sell them to a legal gun dealer who, has to sell them out of state, or, and this is where the peasantry comes in here, this is where being a good little peasant comes in, or you can turn them in to the Los Angeles Police Department. You may surrender your property. Aha! Aha! Ha, 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 ha. Check this out, Jared. Exemptions are in place for, obviously, people who are employees of the state, okay? But also because it's the People's Republic of California, exemptions are in place for Hollywood prop masters, gunsmiths, that doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever, law enforcement, museums who have such magazines on display. And check out this weirdness. It says, and Jared, check this out. This last sentence is going to tell you how the gun industry is screwing itself.
Yep.
Listen to this. It says, the final exemption in this law, it says, blah, 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 mag on display. It says, and anyone with a, quote, grandfathered mag to a weapon for which there is no 10-round magazine produced. So, all of you firearms manufacturers, all of you manufacturers in the United States who thought you were being really cool and smart and reasonable and accommodating by changing and altering your products, making California legal guns and California approved magazines. And you know what, Jared? There are a lot of people in the industry that are our friends that do this. And you know what I tell them all the time? Stop doing that.
Yep.
You're enabling them to continue to be stupid. You are an enabler. You're the guy that keeps giving $20 to his alcoholic brother-in-law. Every time your bum alcoholic brother-in-law comes around and he's like, dude, man, I need to get my crap together. I really know I do. I do. I really understand. I need to get my stuff together. But for right now, can you just loan me $20? And you say, okay, all right, I'll give you $20, but this is the last time. Until the next time. Firearms manufacturers in the United States of America that deliberately alter and change their products to make them, quote, California legal, or it's not just California, Massachusetts legal, New Jersey legal, New York legal, whatever, Illinois legal, Chicago legal. Anybody who deliberately alters and changes their product in order to accommodate these communists, these tyrants, you're screwing yourself. They're never, ever, 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 ever going to fix themselves if you keep giving them $20. They're not going to say, you know what, these firearms industry people, they're really super reasonable. And we just decided today that we no longer hate guns and armed peasants. So we're going to back off. What does this thing show us? So essentially, every modern magazine-fed firearm in the United States, semi-automatic magazine-fed firearm, whether it's a black rifle AR-15, whatever, doesn't matter. All of your semi-automatic handguns made by pretty much everybody are all available with what, ladies and gentlemen? They're all available with reduced capacity 10-round magazines. Because why? Because I'll tell you why. And I had no pre-plan, or I was not predisposed to speak of this. But what the heck? The box is open. We screwed ourselves. We really did. And you said, well, why do firearms? And you're sitting out there because you're a hardcore, dedicated student of the gun, or at least most of you are. So you're sitting out there and you're like, why would an industry that knows that a state is openly hostile to it, California, 100% openly hostile to the firearms industry. Massachusetts, 100% openly hostile to the firearms industry. New York, New Jersey, do I need to go on? Why would you do business there? Why would you do business in a place where you know that the ruling class, that the government has you in their crosshairs, to use firearms vernacular? Why would you do that? And I've had people tell me, like, but Paul, you don't realize the number of gun owners and the number of people in California. Oh, so what you're saying is that your soul is worth the amount of money and sales that you can get from California. That's what your soul is worth. No, I'm not saying, we're not saying that. Don't put words in my mouth. No, that is exactly what you're saying, is your morality and your soul and your principles are only worth so much until you figure out how much money you're going to make by selling guns to people, by selling altered guns to tax slaves in California. Yeah. And this right here is just one more example. And you say, but Paul, why did LA do this? Because the state already adopted this law. They already have basically the exact same thing. Aha. But the state wasn't going around and confiscating them. Because registration never leads to confiscation. Remember that. It never leads to. We just want to know who has the guns. That's the reasonable thing to do. Now, we're not going to come around later and confiscate them. I got a question, Jared. All these people that registered, it said lawfully owned, registered weapons, grandfathered. Is the mayor going to send the sheriff and the police chief out to these people who have registered, grandfathered guns to make sure that they got rid of their evil, nasty magazines? Oh, that would never happen. That's not what registration's all about. It's not so we can go door to door and like find out if you still have that. No, we would never do that.
Then what's the purpose?
Or are they already doing that in California?
Really, if they don't want the registration to use it to find who has these things, then what is the purpose?
It's just a responsible measure. Oh, and this Krikorian guy reminds me of Kevorkian. The author of the band painted the new prohibition as a lifesaver. These magazines may not be the cause of gun violence. No, evil people are. But when shooters use them, tragedies turn into massacres. Ah, I get it. So Krikorian, according to Krikorian here, if you kill the citizens a few at a time, kind of like boiling the frog, huh? You know, if you kill 2 or 3 at a time, that's okay. We can live with that. We just can't. So maybe someone should ask Krikorian, what's the acceptable level of casualties from evil people in the world? What is the acceptable level? I don't know. All right, well, leaving California, we're going to leave the glorious People's Republic of California, and we're going to get in our little imaginary car, and we're going to drive up the coast to a place that is equally insane. Seattle, Washington. All right, WashingtonTimes.com. Dateline. Dateline, come on there, news story. Don't be stupid. Oh, man. You know, Jared, God love the internet. But we've lost our minds as a society. They put so much... Oh, there's a pop-up ad. Woo! Thank you, WashingtonTimes.com. No, I don't want to do a pop-up ad for Rite Aid. All right. So, Seattle City Council advances new gun and ammunition tax. All right. And what is that all about? Well, I'm going to tell you what that's all about as soon as I can get the show notes to stop flickering and the pop-up ads to stop. Lord in heaven, I love modern technology. Don't you love modern technology?
I do love modern technology, except for the whole pop-up ad thing.
Oh, sweet Buddha on a rubber raft. And you know, did you see what they did with this story?
Yeah, I hate that.
They linked in other like topical stuff, like the Black Lives Matter activists are linked in with this story. Why are Black Lives Matter activists linked in with the Seattle gun story?
I don't know, but I have stuff coming on the way to us that is it's a new hashtag. It's
okay.
Black Guns Matter.
Black Guns Matter.
Yep.
Cool. All right, the story by Jessica Chasmar, the Washington Times, datelined Monday, August 10th, 2015. The Seattle City Council is expected to cast a final vote on Monday, which actually already happened, on the legislation that adds new taxes and regulations on firearms and ammunition sold within the city. The legislation, which passed unanimously because your council members are all a bunch of psychos and communists, Wednesday by the Education and Governance Committee, would implement a $25 tax on firearms and a check this out, a 5-cent per round tax. So your box of 50 training ammo in Seattle just went up. The price of that just went up $2.50 a box.
Wow.
Yeah. On ammunition that would force gun owners to force gun owners to report a lost or stolen firearm within 24 hours. Or then they become the criminal. You see how that is? They flip it around there. They turn the gun owners into the criminals versus the criminals that actually did the stealing. Supporters believe the tax will deter criminals from buying a gun. Supporters believe the tax will deter criminals from buying a gun. Because we know what good tax-paying citizen criminals are. Yeah, because your recidivist criminal element, boy, if it's one thing, they're faithful taxpayers. Isn't that right, Jared?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, I mean, the Crips and the Bloods, they're supporting Social Security. You know, Social Security would collapse if it wasn't for all the money funneled in by MS-13 and the Crips and the Bloods and, you know, those guys. If it's one thing you can say about recidivist criminals, is they're faithful taxpayers. Whew. And tax revenue would go towards violence prevention. You mean like in Chicago, where they were using city money to pay gangbangers to go around and talk to other gangbangers? And then they found out that those guys were taking that money and then still participating in criminal activity? What? That's so crazy. Oh, here we go. This is the poor me, I'm a victim, and you don't have any rights because I'm a victim. In my family alone, there have been 3 incidents of youths. Okay, we got youths being killed or injured by gunfire. Said, who was holding the gun? A robot? An android? Said Seattle City Councilman John Akamoto during. How did all that work out for what was our buddy Li Lin Yi? So we got somebody like I wonder. Let's look into John Akamoto's background here and see how much. What's John Akamoto doing? Remember Li Lin Yi, our buddy Li Lin Yi down there in San Francisco, big anti-gun, gun prohibitionist. Well, for peasants, but the Chinese mafia needs some. They need some like real serious military hardware and rocket launchers, and we can't. Yeah, you were just going to say it. Go ahead.
We can't stand idle when this is an epidemic in the city, but so we'll take action to make it worse. Is what they're going to do.
Yeah, well, so what we're going to do is we're going to make lawfully purchasing firearms more difficult. How does that affect? I want someone in Seattle. I want one of these turds. And here's the deal. The burden of regressive taxes like this, the Seattle proposal, falls squarely on those that are the least able to afford them. Okay, that's just NRA lobbying arm. Yeah, folks, when you raise the price of something, what you do is you make it more difficult for the average person or people to buy that, right? Yes. Okay. When you make something easy to get or free, you increase the demand for that free thing. It's basic, like, humanology 101. I know, I just made that up. So what we have here, are there people in, Jared, are there people in the world that have really limited incomes or very little disposable income that do have a legitimate need for a defensive tool in their lives?
Yep.
But what we're going to do here is we're going to price them out of the market, or we're going to punish them. So you got your single mom of two who lives in a relatively crappy neighborhood, but she's she works 2 jobs and she's got, and I know this is stereotypical, but those people do exist. Or you got the young couple. You have a young couple that are, when you're a young couple, you're generally broke. I mean, that's kind of the way it works. I was a part of a young couple that was generally broke. So you have a limited disposable income. So what we're going to do for you is we're going to force you, if you think that you might want to buy a gun, we're going to force you to spend way more on it than you normally would have. And who absorbs the burden on this? You say, well, the gun dealer should absorb the burden on this. Yeah, that's what they should do. That's how you, kind of like, we're going to force McDonald's to pay people $15 an hour to screw up their French fry order. And they're like, well, then that's going to cause McDonald's to reduce the size of their burgers and to increase the cost of their food. They should just quit being greedy and quit paying their corporate fat cuts. I don't even know what to say to you people out there in Washington. Apparently, they've run out of bayonets, Jared. I thought they had bayonets. I thought they had more bayonets, but I guess they've run out. And I think I don't know what to say. But, yeah, there you have it. So both L.A. and Seattle, all within 1 week of each other, said, screw your Second Amendment, screw your fundamental rights, we do what we want, and we don't care.
Well, Washington's been pretty good about standing up for themselves.
Well,
so
I mean,
maybe
they were until
formulating a response to this, because the last 2 things that they've been trying to force upon the peasants have been, they didn't work out very well for the government.
Well, here's what it's going to do. This is punitive for anybody who wants to operate a business within the city of Seattle, because regular gun people, what they're going to do is they're just going to get in their truck or car or whatever, and they're going to drive somewhere else. They're going to drive to a neighboring. They're going to order it online, or if that's still legal in Washington. I don't know. That may not be legal in Washington anymore, in Washington State. What's really sick? The 2 main geographic areas, that are named after the founding father, the father of our nation, George Washington, have just been shat upon by communists and socialists and liberal do-gooders, progressive statists. Sometimes I wish I could just close my eyes and go to sleep, and that George Washington would come back with an immense fury and just like Christ and the money changers in the temple, I would love for George Washington to come back and walk into the halls of Congress and just start turning over the tables. Any of you artists out there? All right, I'm going to give this to you. This is a free one.
Yep.
If you are an artist, this is what I want you to do. An artist rendering of the money changers scene. There are paintings of Christ turning over the tables and there's really some really cool paintings with the scourge. If you read, depending on which chapter you read, where he fashioned a scourge out of cords, and they're like, what? You guys like the WWJD, and people are like, well, he might turn over the tables and whip you. So that's part of it. But here's what I want you guys to do. Or this is a free one I'm going to give you. You love liberty. You love the United States of America. And this just happened. George Washington on the floor of the House. Or heck, in the White House. You know, have him walking into the Oval Office and overturning the tables. Play on that. There, that's your assignment. Go forth. What do you think?
Oh, and by the way, if you wanted to, once you do that, you could actually include the student of the gun, like as a little corner down there.
Yeah, obviously.
That would be cool of you.
That would be cool. All of you guys that are making up like little student of the gun memes and sharing them on Facebook, we like that. That's very cool. All right, I'm gonna make one final point to all of you hippies out there, and for Jarrett, for years, I've talked about you can't sterilize the world. And I'm talking, I wish I could find the first article that I did. I did it about in 02 or 03 that was entitled, You Can't Sterilize the World. And I went into great detail about how all these, gun-free zones and this is and that's, how, and I made the comparison of a prison. Because what you would say, is a prison, I said, consider a maximum security prison. Maximum security prison should be the safest place, the most weapons-free place on the planet. I mean, should it not? Because let's face it, any prison, any jail, any type of correctional institute is a 100% weapons-free zone, right? That is the perfect example of a gun-free zone. So you go ahead and take any, I don't care what the name is, any prison in America, and you consider it, and they do the. You guys have all watched Oz. You've watched, the new hotness is Orange is the New Black. You've all seen the behind the scenes HBO documentaries about prison culture in America, and where they go in and they're like, and they interview prisoners and they talk about, this guy was gang raped and this person was shanked and this person killed himself and then the blah blah and prison riots and all that stuff, right? I'm going to ask you this: if guns lead to violence, why aren't prisons the most passive, calm, sedate places on the planet? Every prison, every jail in the United States, even the state employees that are working inside are forbidden to have guns. It's a weapons-free zone, 100%. So, why is it that people get murdered in prison? How can someone get murdered in prison, raped in prison, beat up in prison, assaulted in prison, whatever? How can that happen, Jared? Because according to every hippie, liberal, do-gooding, progressive statist puke face, Seattle, L.A., New York, Massachusetts, Chicago, whatever, it's the weapons and the availability of weapons that causes violence. Maybe, I'm going to throw this out there, maybe there's violence in prisons not because of the availability of weapons, but because the population of every prison is what? Monsters, evil men, evil women. The population is made up of those who are evil. You can't call people evil, Paul. It's just, it's just hurtful. And no, they are. So when you have a city, when you have Chicago, when you have LA, when you have New York, when you have Philadelphia, do I need to go on? When you have a city where the population has a large percentage of monsters, of evil people, especially evil people that have no fear of retribution. They have no fear of the citizenry. They have no fear of the state. Why should they stop? Next time someone says something to you about gun-free zone, and, well, I can understand that because there's no reason anyone would need a gun in a movie theater. There's no reason anyone would need a gun in a restaurant. There's no reason anyone would need a gun. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, moron. Are prisons 100% gun-free zones? Well, yes, they are. Then why aren't they safe? Would you ask them, hey, would you go walk around in a federal detention facility right now? Well, hell no, I wouldn't. Why not? You should be safe as a baby. Because there are no guns there. So no one can hurt you or harm you. They're like, and in that brief moment of honesty, they'd be like, oh, no, man, they would kill you they make weapons. So what you're telling me is that if an evil human being desires a weapon, they will find a way to get one? Yeah. Oh, so explain to me again why any of this nonsense is a good idea. And not one, every one of both of these incidents, the Seattle incident and the LA incident, Jared, every one of those public signings, every one of those public meetings, there were members of the media there. Well, people who call themselves members of the media, basically they're just sycophants. They're just observers. They're cheerleaders for the progressive state. Not one person raised their hand and said, hey, excuse me. Yeah, I got a question for you. Can you explain to me how this new law is going to keep the streets safer, Mr. Kevorkian? Because and throw the prison example out there and see what they say. And they'll go, bailiff, remove him from the courtroom. They're not going to ask him that. Because they're gutless. They're gutless. The people who call themselves journalists today are nothing but a bunch of spineless cheerleaders. Because they want to be part of the cool crowd and get invited to the parties and stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, and students of the gun, thank you for joining us today. I hope that we stimulated some thought in your little brain housing group there. Now, don't forget about our friends at SWAT Fuel. One of our buddies just said, hey, I had to do a 15-hour drive to Ohio, and I took SWAT Fuel, and thank you very much because it kept me alert and going behind the wheel. And unlike powered drinks, they don't make you pee every 30 minutes. SWAT Fuel, use the promo code SOTG2015 when you order it. Don't forget about our buddies at Velocity Triggers. You can basically save $100 off of something that is the same thing by going to velocitytriggers.com. Got a black rifle, they got a trigger for you. And our friends at Century Arms. Don't forget about Century Arms, the makers of the C39, 100% made in the USA AK, and the TP9 SA, and the TP9 V2. Kind of like the rocket, like the V2 rocket. Yeah, you kids went to public school. You don't know what I'm talking about. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a public broadcast listener, we will talk to you on Monday. But for all of you grad program people, we've got some... we're going to talk about social bullies tomorrow. Yes, we are. And you're going to just shake your head in disgust. But it'll be fun. We promise. All right, remember, beginner once, a student for life.